Hey everyone, welcome to our series on how to market to federal buyers in your industry. This is a quick hit video about 5 steps to marketing to federal buyers. What I did was I just took all of the information that I talked to you about on capability briefings and industry meetings and a couple of other areas, capability statements, and I put it into one. So if you just want a quick hit video, this is it. So here we go. Market your product or service to federal buyers in 5 steps. I'm just going to give you a quick overview. So if you just want to watch this video with all the 5 steps, you can always go back and watch the other ones individually later. But let's get right into it. So the first thing you want to do is, I know you're tired of me saying it, but you will not believe how much this first step will help you to make money faster and to get things moving and rolling right along. Do your homework. Do your research on the agencies that are currently buying from you in your industry. Now, you may just assume that you know what's going on, but you don't. You need the facts. So you're going to run a USA Spending report, usaspending.gov, just like I taught you. I will put some more videos out there about USA Spending because I think that if you're not in class in my workshops, then it's a little bit difficult to grasp sometimes. So I'll make sure that I go over that again. But go to my series on how to win big in federal contracts, the 5 steps, and walk through that and you'll see what I mean about running the spending reports. And once you run the spending reports, you'll see what I mean. But I'm also going to review with you what's in those spending reports and how you should take a look at things. But that is your first step. You need the key descriptions, the NAICS codes, and the PSC codes. And where is that coming from on the USA Spending Report? It's coming from the contracting officer. It's telling you what codes he used, what words he used to make that deal. How the small business or the large business or the set-aside company, woman-owned, veterans, it's telling you what keywords, what NAICS codes they had in their SAM and their profile to help the contracting officer make a deal with them. Okay, so if the contracting officer was looking for them, they use the same terms that the contracting officer used. Not what you think they are, not what other people tell you they are, but they used exactly what the contracting officer used. That's number 1. So that's step 1. Do your homework, do your research. Step 2, make sure your SAM, your data small business profile, which is what we call the dynamic small business search. That's where the contracting officers and everyone finds you. Make sure that information, along with your capability statement, is updated with those key words that I mentioned in step 1, those NAICS codes and PSC codes, the product service codes. A lot of people don't know what those are. A lot of people don't use them. But I have a video coming up where I can explain to you how NAICS codes work and how PSC codes work, but they both should be in your SAM. SAM won't even allow you to set it up without at least one NAICS code, one primary NAICS code. Okay, so make sure your SAM database account, your Small Business Dynamic Research account, and you get to your Small Business Dynamic Research file after you go through the SAM process. If you need to update that, you must go back through the entire SAM process. I know that it's irritating, but that's how you have to do it. And you really want to keep your Small Business Dynamics search updated because that's where the contracting officers look for you. They are looking for a small business, a set-aside business, a business group that they can work with when they're putting out these solicitations, because that's what they're doing. They're setting aside for women, or they're setting aside for veterans, or they're setting aside for HubZone. Okay, so make sure all of your keywords are on both of those databases, SAM and then the Small Business Dynamic Search, and then also your capability statement. Your capability statement should also have the right NAICS codes and PSC codes and keywords. Number 3, get a list. If you just want to do some serious marketing, there's nothing wrong with that. Some of you don't have time to do that. But if you do and you want more contracting officers directly to know who you are, what you do. Now you can't solicit to them when they have a specific solicitation out. You can't see a solicitation and say, oh, they have a solicitation just for my company, let me try to talk to them. They're not going to talk to you because they're in the middle of a solicitation. They want to be fair. So if you have something to say to them, say it during an off time and don't make your emails long and drawn out. Just send them a capability statement. Tell them what you do. And sometimes they will not respond back. Sometimes they will. They're supposed to respond back, but we have to choose our battles. That's not one that is so important. So, eventually you're going to talk to these guys anyway when you start bidding on their opportunities. But the fact of the matter is, you have the right contracting officer. You're reaching the right federal buyers. And how do you know that? Because you did your homework. You know which codes are being used. Okay, so you know how to find opportunities in FBO.gov. And in FBO.gov, you will see contracting officers attached to these solicitations in FBO.gov. I've also talked to you about forecast reports. I'll do a separate video on that because I know some of this can be overwhelming when you're going through this process. But I will walk you through a forecast report again in a separate video. And you will see in the forecast reports, you have contracting officer information, whether it is a telephone number, an email address. Most of them will give you an email address. And so these are opportunities that are coming up. Those would be great contracting officers to reach out to before the opportunity comes out so that they know there are small businesses in this industry, in this category that are interested. Okay, so when you send them a message, just send them a message with a capability statement, but just tell them that you're introducing yourself. You just wanted to send them a quick message to let them know you're a woman-owned business and you can do the job. Don't be offended if they don't send anything back because you could meet them at a capability briefing or at an industry meeting or at a pre-bid meeting. So just keep a great attitude, send it out. Don't expect anything else. The only thing you want to do is bid. This contracting officer that you reach out to could actually take your information and put you in on a private situation, like maybe a simplified acquisition that is under $150,000. And he needs a few small businesses to compete. So he's giving you or sending you an invitation to bid. So just keep that in mind. Okay, but that is step number 3. And then number 4, attend industry day meetings and capability briefings where you can meet contracting officers, project managers, and users. I know I haven't talked a lot about users, but users are the entities, the agencies, or the employees that the contracting officers are doing the purchasing for. They're doing the buying for someone else, for a different agency. So I could be a Navy SEAL and maybe my department needs certain items. Maybe we need underwater items or something like that. I may not have a buyer right in my department. So there may be a department of contracting officers that are assigned to buy for me. It could be DLA, Defense Logistics. It could be another department under the Army Corps of Engineers. It could be any other agency that is under the umbrella of Department of Defense. We're all under Department of Defense, so I may be in a position to have another contracting officer from another agency that is connected under Department of Defense to purchase my items. And do the contracting officers and the project managers listen to the users, the ones that actually need the product or service? Absolutely they do. You could meet a user or you could meet any one of these folks at a meeting and they will tell you we're doing this project for my department. I've been in situations like that. I've met users, and it's actually a great feeling because they're involved in the process. Sometimes you could go to a conference and meet a user, and the user will tell you much more about the situation than the contracting officers and the project managers and the contract specialists. So just keep that in mind. But the way that you track these industry meetings is through FBO.gov. They actually have a small business events button now, which is a great thing. And I told you about that in the Industry Day meeting video. Now, capability briefings are a little bit different. Capability briefings are specifically part of the process for a certain agency. Not every agency has them, but you always want to look for opportunities to meet contracting officers. So if you want to know some of the types of agencies that have capability briefings, when you do your homework, as in step number 1, make sure that if you're interested in that agency, that you go to their small business website and you look for the small business specialist to find out if they have capability briefings. If you don't see the answer to it, call or send an email and ask about capability briefings. Some of them are not as official, and if you want to check more into what I mean by capability briefings, because maybe you're just watching this video, you need to go back to our video on capability briefings. Okay, pre-bid meetings are part of Industry Day meetings sometimes. Pre-bid meetings are great because you get to meet the users, the project managers, the client or the contract specialist, and also the contracting officers. So if you ever see a pre-bid meeting for an opportunity that you would like to bid on, you need to hike yourself on over there and do what you can. If you can afford to go out of town, sometimes it's right in town. A lot of times it's right in town, because if you're looking for opportunities in your state, you're going to find them most of the time. Especially if you're in construction or something like that. Or there are other ones too, but there are lots of opportunity local. They don't have to be all over the country, but if they're in your state, I don't care if you have to drive 2 or 3 hours, you may never get another opportunity like that. So make sure that you go to the pre-bid meeting. Sometimes the pre-bid meeting they're required. They require you to attend, otherwise you cannot participate in bidding on the solicitation or responding to the solicitation. Okay, so that's step 4. In step 5, all I can tell you is bid, bid, bid on any and every opportunity that you can. Now, if you're in construction, it could cost you a lot of money to bid. So you need to be very careful about what you're choosing. Unless you're bidding on specific projects and small projects, you could probably bid a lot. But it doesn't do any good for you to do all of this and you're not bidding. And I know it's scary at first if you've never done it, but I'm telling you, if you don't do it, you're not going to win. And you have very little competition in most cases because you are a small business. If you're a large company, you're up against all kinds of folks. But if you are a small company and you have a set-aside, or you are part of a set-aside group, like a veteran or a woman-owned business or an EDWOSB, then you pretty much have the door open for you to get in. All you have to do is do what it takes to participate. Okay, and then if you don't win, don't forget to ask for a debrief so that you know what you can do better. You'll find out if it's pricing, you'll find out if they feel like you should have a little more experience, but please don't give up and bid as often as you can. The more they see you, the more they take you seriously. Okay? And with that said, you too can win federal contracts. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Please don't forget to subscribe and also leave me your comments and let me know what industry you're in, what information you need, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.